Marie's raising her hand.
I was asked a question. I was asked, I'm trying to do the English translation of it because it was partially in English. I think what the person was asking was how to increase motivation and inspiration to read scripture. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think this person has some goals about struggling with, like, they want to do regular study, and I can give some advice on that just because, like, I'm really good with routines and stuff, but inspiration and motivation has never been my problem. My problem is I want to read all the things all the time, and I have to, like, stick to one at a time. So I was wondering if maybe you had any advice on the inspiration motivation side of things.
For studying scripture.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the way we were trained with our Gurudev, I mean, our Gurudev didn't put so much emphasis like on studying scripture, you know, especially like at home, and I mean, like studying with the devotees is really the best way to do it, you know, like I mean, nowadays we're fortunate to have the platform of, modern technology. So it makes it a bit easier. So, I mean, the best way to study scripture is with the devotees, actually, and especially if you can hear from someone a little more qualified. And then you also naturally develop a taste and a hunger, you know. I mean, if you don't have any association, then then taking some association from the books is definitely good. It doesn't have to be like a serious, you know, spending 2 hours a day, but 15 minutes, I mean, reading 15 minutes of Bhagavad Gita every day, that's not such a difficult thing for anyone to do. I mean, see, one thing we have to remember about spiritual life is like it's not like going to the gym. It's a descending process. It's not about, oh, I'm going to get in my 2 hours of scripture study, and I'm going to get in my 16 rounds, and I'm going to get my ticket back to Godhead. It's not like that. It's a descending process. And we're praying that the scriptures will reveal themselves to us. So, we're not here to become scholars, actually. We want, our Gurudev would say even, it's not necessary to read so much, you know. And like he mentioned Sharanagati, with the songs of Sharanagati, you can get everything. He said if someone's going to be a preacher, then they should it's important that they do study everything. Or if, like Marie's saying, she has some natural inclination, like she has a scholarly inclination, then that's a special case too. You're using Krishna consciousness is about using our faculties in the service of the Lord. So that may be studying the scripture, that may be washing the Lord's pots, or everyone has some different capacity and different nature. And not that doesn't mean we completely dismiss developing an understanding. We do want to, but it should be natural, and really the best way is hearing, and the association of the Vaishnavas. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he actually made it a rule, and when he in his time in Armat, that nobody could sit and study by themselves in their room. That was actually like his rule in the temple. And you would hear the scripture there would be 3 classes a day. Okay, there'd be morning Chaitanya Bhagavat, afternoon Srimad Bhagavatam, and then evening, nighttime Chaitanya Charitamrita. And they wouldn't be, maybe like an hour each, and then you go and hear the scripture, like hearing from a qualified Vaishnava as a part of your daily life of service and practicing devotion. And then you're going about your service. So it's a very kind of like holistic, integrated way of hearing, right? That was Srila Sridhar Maharaj's preference, right? Not that someone would just in an isolated way go and study. Now it's different if someone's living at home, then it's good to take some time out. But as I said, it doesn't need to be like a 2-hour thing, just we want to tune into that higher stream. 15 minutes of Bhagavad Gita, 15 minutes of one of our guru's books, and again, nowadays with all this technology, you can tune into Facebook classes being broadcast all over the world, and that's a very sweet thing, So, the mood that we find here, it's not like it's a little different from what you'll find in many places where there's more of kind of a stereotyped approach, right? Like we've got to sit down and put in our scripture study time, this is something living, right? It's not just about memorizing things or doing things by rote, but we're trying to invite living revelation. And that journey will also be a little different for everyone. So yeah, I would say if you're, try and hear one class every day, whether it's coming from our gurus or from some Vaishnava, tune into some online meeting or hear an online class, or try and do that every day, 45 minutes, read 15 minutes from some book every day, half an hour, and if you feel inspired a little bit more. But let it, let us be caught by that higher wave, right? This isn't something that we want to be an object of our mental system, right? But we want to be caught by that higher wave. So let it be natural, let it be natural. And ultimately everything comes through sadhu sangha, through association and service with the devotees. So that would be my advice. Chinmoy, would you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's exactly right. The major scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, best to read that with group, with the devotees.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely best. Reading it on your own it can be difficult. But in addition to that, if you're reading the books of Srila Govinda Maharaj and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that I think can give you so much inspiration, so much understanding of the scriptures.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've never been to Srimad Bhagavatam, and I don't feel so much of a pull to either, and I don't feel that I'm lacking either. I mean, one day I think I should, But the thing is, like Chinmoy saying, through the books of our gurus, they've been through the scriptures already, and they're giving us the essence. I mean, there are many verses from Srimad Bhagavatam I know by heart, just from hearing from our gurus. I haven't gone and studied, the scripture like that, but it's been something more natural, So yes, more valuable actually is hearing the scriptures coming through the mouths of the sadhus. So we're fortunate, and you may find, your friend may find that their heart clicks more with that. Like going through the books of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, going through the books of Srila Govinda Maharaj, and our Guru Varga, then that may resonate with them more. So, but yes, association is really everything. Everything.
I also find, Didi, when I'm reading the books of Srila Govinda Maharaj or Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and they're explaining some point that's from the scriptures, and then when you read that part in the scriptures, it has so much more meaning.
Yeah.
You actually understand what's going on.
That's right. Like we're seeing the scriptures through the lens of our guru's realizations, and that's a much richer experience. Like we go through a little of Chaitanya Charitamrita every morning here, and we're reading Srila Prabhupada, Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada's edition, and we're remembering so many comments of Srila Govinda Maharaj and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and in connection with what we're reading, and that makes it a very rich experience. They appreciate this scripture. Our gurus have the capacity to understand and appreciate the scripture. And we're humbly approaching the scripture, through the lens of their appreciation and their realization, in the light of their realization, according to our humble capacity. And another thing is that so Sukriti, right? We talk about this word Sukriti, this spiritual good fortune that we acquire through service to the Vaishnavas. This is actually what gives us the capacity to appreciate. So cultivating that service mood, service to Guru and Vaishnava, that is what will actually give us capacity to understand and appreciate. Because, everything in that higher plane is based on dedication, right? So anything that's granted to, anything that's given to us, anything that's extended to us in Krishna consciousness, capacity, realization, that's all given with the understanding that we are going to use that in service, right? It's not like our Gurudev, he mentioned how so many people would come to hear from Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and they took something and put it in their pocket. He said, but when they left, actually their pocket was empty. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he, just from a philosophical or even linguistic point of view, he gave amazing discourses, very poetic, very deeply philosophical. And so he attracted many people, and, not all of them were, we can say, really coming because of a sincere spirit of dedication. Many were attracted more by this external aspect and kind of took something from him, and then they're going on with their own business, right? It wasn't really a movement of true surrender, right? So for the real transaction, there's a spirit of dedication, right? We want to serve that divine substance, not make a trade with it. And why do we want to learn the Shastra? We want to learn so, we can impress people with what we know, or we want to learn so we can achieve liberation, or we can learn so that we can get some good karma, right? But no, we want to learn so that we can serve, so we can surrender in a deeper way. So our heart will become more deeply attracted and attached to this, right? As Hegel says, right, the nature of the divine, the supreme entity, is that he is by himself and for himself. So that's always there in the background. Even our Srila Sridhar Maharaj mentions, our listening, that belongs to him. That's in service, right? We're listening, in a spirit of service. That is for him, right? Everything is for him. We are for him. Our listening is for him. Everything is for him. That's the place where we are trying to get to, that level of surrender. So we can ask ourselves these questions. What is my motivation, right? In chanting my japa, what is my motivation? So I can show people, oh, I'm chanting my japa. Or I can tell people, oh, I chanted 16 rounds. Or so I will be a good devotee, and I will get a good wife or a good husband and a good job, and whatever. My children will be very good and they will pass their exams. I'm chanting because my guru asked me to chant, actually. It's my service. Part of my service to my guru, my service to the name, my service to the Lord. It's all for their satisfaction. for their pleasure. And my happiness will come. My happiness lies in their happiness. It's a little difficult, you know, to conceive of that. That, you know, we have all this resistance. Like we're going through this kind of like reconstruction right now. Our mental system is being reconstructed, right? And there's a resistance, right? Because it's hard for us to comprehend. How can we be happy? How can our soul happiness be in the happiness of others? You know, like, what's in it for me, right? You know, I'm gonna, you know, I think of sometimes Madhavendra Puri when in Govardhan he arranges this grand Anakut ceremony for the Gopal deity. And there's so many, and you know, it's a huge affair, you know, hundreds, thousands of people come from all the neighboring villages, and so many elaborate food preparations you know, are offered. And Madhavendra Puri makes sure everyone gets fed, you know, down to the last beggar, everyone gets fed. And then at the end of the day, it says he takes a little milk. He goes to take rest. And it just astonishes me when I think of that. Wow, like, just can't imagine that. All these fancy preparations. And he's having little milk. Their happiness is in serving the Vaishnavas. Their happiness is in serving the Lord. You know, that's a finer type of happiness. We get some taste of that in this world, right? We get some small experience of that in this world. But when our soul has, you know, fully evolved, you know, our whole, you know, every movement, every breath, you know, will be for that. And so much, how can I please my Lord? How can I please the Vaishnavas? And what joy we will receive because of that. You know, we cannot really comprehend right now. But that is how our Atma, our soul, will be actually nourished. So it is, you know, good for us to question our motivation. Like one devotee told me, you know, they asked Gurudev a question once, and our Gurudev looked at him and he said, "Oh, so I will give you the answer, and then you will know that." Like, is that what this is? You know? Is that what this is? Yeah, Gurudev, he could be very straightforward sometimes. You know? Another devotee told me that one time they asked our Gurudev something. Like he had the newspaper in front of him and just like put up the newspaper. Or he might like turn up the volume like the news was playing or something. And Sriyukta Maharaj, he shared a very special story with our Gurudev, that he went and asked our Gurudev a question once, and you know, and I know I was talking about this yesterday, like the way we've been trained by our guru, it's like we have like it's almost like we have a, what do you call it? Like a bogus detector. Like it's like our Gurudev like broke all the stereotypes, and like there wasn't room for anyone to pretend anything. You know, like there was like zero room for making a show, or, you know, like he would just like kind of like burst your bubbles and be very real, and would make you like question like your whole conception of what Krishna consciousness is, you know. And this one time, Sriyukta Maharaj asked our Gurudev a question. It was kind of like a complex philosophical question, and our Gurudev just looked at him and didn't say anything. And Sriyukta Maharaj felt very bad, and he said he in his humility, he said he felt that he was asking from a place of ego, like he wanted to show off, you know, like, oh, I know something, you know, asking this big question, these big words, and And he had a friend in the room. I wanted to impress him. And he's saying, humbly and very frankly. And so then later on in the day, he came back to our Gurudev and he said, "Oh, Gurudev, I want to apologize, for asking that question and earlier." And our Gurudev, he said, "Oh, it was a good question." And, and then Gurudev told him, "I didn't answer because you already know the answer." And then Chibi Kumar is just very surprised, like, "I know the answer?" And then he said it was very mystical, that it was like this flood of revelation entered within his heart. And it wasn't just one answer or two answers, but it was like this whole download of like so many different angles, like how this question could be answered, all just flooded into his consciousness in this very mystical way. And he was completely astounded. Our Gurudev was very funny, like he had this way of kind of like breaking your stereotypes and anything, like any like airy fairy conception that you have, like keeping you on the ground, like there's that famous in our community famous occasion. Our Gurudev was asking the devotees, our devotees, "So what's the difference between us and ISKCON?" And and everyone's coming up with all these, deep, answers, philosophical answers. And then our Gurudev says, "They dress better than us," And Ashram Maharshi told me this time in Vrindavan. Our Gurudev asked the devotees, I think someone might have mentioned how sweet the roses. There were some flowers that were offered to the deities in their garland, very sweet smelling roses. And our Gurudev said, who gives the sweet scent to the flowers? And the devotees are saying, "Oh, Krishna," like this. And Krishna's making the flowers very sweet. And our Gurudev said it is the Muslim flower seller in the market. He put some perfume in the flowers. Our Gurudev had this way of just like keeping you on the ground, not letting you get too carried away, like with these kind of airy fairy, ideas about Krishna consciousness. Anyway, somehow we got onto that. And yesterday, of course, was the divine appearance day of our Param Guru Maharaj, our grandfather Guru. Oh, Radhana Rupini says, "Keeping it real" in the chat. Yeah, exactly. And Marie has some nice comments here. Yeah, yesterday was the divine appearance day of our grandfather Guru, Param Guru Srila Bhakti Raksha Sridhardev Goswami Maharaj. So we've had some very happy remembrance with some touch of his divine glories. And the day before that was the day that Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave sannyas, to Srila Govinda Maharaj. I'm just thinking, I was just talking with my mother, and she never told me like all these details of like how she first came to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and it's quite an amazing story. But it's just, I'm just thinking of how our Gurudev had this like humorous side to him, And I don't know, it's like he had this playfulness about him, you know, and he would sometimes be a little unexpected in the way that he would deal with things. Like Jamuna Priya, I was staying with Jamuna Priya in Northern California, and she told me, you know, there's this one devotee, he was a disciple of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he was a little bit of a troublemaker, you know, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj actually wanted to remove him from the temple in his time. He was still there. I mean, he left his body in our temple. He lived there his whole life, you know. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj had actually wanted to remove him. But our Gurudev insisted, no, to please keep him in the mat. Our Gurudev had a lot of affection for him, but he was envious of our Gurudev, and he would always cause trouble. You know, like he'd kind of like sometimes try and rouse up groups against our Gurudev. But Jamuna Priya, she gave me some interesting insight on it. This time, she said that she had this impression. Jamuna Priya, she was a personal assistant to our Gurudev for many years. And she said it was like our Gurudev was amused by he was amused, like having this person around him who like was envious of him, was always causing trouble for him. And I was reflecting back because I witnessed some of their exchanges, and our Gurudev really had this very like playful air to him, and you know, like zero ego. You know, like in my own case, if there's someone around who wants to make trouble, my ego is going to flare up, right? But our Gurudev doesn't have any ego, and he finds it kind of amusing having someone around who doesn't like him and is envious, is always making trouble for him. He's amused by that, like entertaining, you know. It's wonderful. It kind of just like opens up a whole world of possibility, you know, like, you know, because our whole experience of life is based on our you know, like how we're perceiving it, right? So it's like we have a choice, you know, and like having a sense of humor in these situations, you know, changes everything, you know. It changes everything. But my mother told this story too. She never told me this detail, but she had kind of a heavy experience because when she came and took shelter of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, she didn't like go through the proper channel, and there was one senior devotee who got upset, and he wrote a letter to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, like telling him not to accept her, and she said, like, she came in the room and like was meeting Srila Sridhar Maharaj for the first time, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj just told her about it. Like, oh, this person sent this letter. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was like very sad and like very sober. And she said, but our Gurudev, he had like this little bit of a playful air, you know, like our Gurudev was repeating it. Oh yes, very heavy letter. Like kind of like it was like a thrilling drama or something. And it was like this contrast because Srila Sridhar Maharaj was like very sober, very grave, and our Gurudev like he was like kind of like a little entertained by it or something, like some drama was playing out, you know, like. But yeah, it was like this very suspenseful moment because she was afraid for a moment they weren't going to accept her, and they're telling her, oh, this person sent this letter, and she's like crying and crying. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, but I consider it would be the greatest cruelty, you know, to reject you. You've come to the shore of the ocean of material existence, and now you're ready to take the boat, right, across this. So it was an incredible moment of mercy. And she said it was saying it was very interesting, like to see the different moods in the Vaishnavas, you know, that the Vaishnavas all have different moods. Srila Sridhar Maharaj also, he was very like reserved, and he had a Brahminical nature actually, and for that reason, you know, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had requested him to go to the West to to spread Mahaprabhu's message there. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj humbly declined, and one of his reasons was, he said, I cannot mix very freely. It will be very difficult for me to mix with the Westerners. We're just raised in a completely different way. We don't have a proper conception of cleanliness, right? And so many things. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj said it would be too difficult for me, to mix freely like that. But our Gurudev was very different. That is our good fortune. Our Gurudev, he would, even just sitting and taking at the same table, that's like kind of taboo, in the Vedic culture. And we hear from Janardhan Maharaj how our Gurudev, like sometimes very playfully, he would take something from the plate of Janardhan Maharaj, and like he told of one time he took something from Janardhan Maharaj's, like American sannyasi, and he took something from Janardhan Maharaj's plate. And, and this is technically like uchishta, like little contaminated, the remnants, right? And our Gurudev gives that to this very like upright Bengali sannyasi. I expect his Brahmin also, that he was Goswami Maharaj. Well, he was a disciple of Bhakti Sranga Goswami Maharaj. Giri Maharaj was his name. I expect Brahmin. And Gurudev would give that prasad, like make him eat that, So very, very different nature, We our Gurudev didn't like that the devotees would be too strict, like too uptight about things, like following, this is mentioned in Upadeshamrita, right? Niyamagraha, right? To be too relaxed about the rules is not good, but to be too strict is also not good, because it's not about the rule, it's about the principle behind, right? So like there was one case of one Indian sannyasi coming from a Brahmin family and very strict, likes to follow the Vidhi Marg, the strict line of rules, regulations. And our Gurudev on one occasion like made him eat chocolate on Ekadashi. And like Gurudev, like at another time, he told some of the Western devotees, no, we don't take chocolate on Ekadashi, it goes against the spirit of Ekadashi. But in this case, like where you see someone is like overly attached to following this very strict style of practice, he's trying to break that, But pure Paramahamsa, our Gurudev was completely Paramahamsa in his dealings. Always extracting the essence, always connecting with the substance, with the essence. That was his nature. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that about him too. He said he is natural Paramahamsa. Natural Paramahamsa. So we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate. We've seen three great examples, like in this modern era, with Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Prabhupada, and Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, and then Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev. So we're seeing these three Paramahamsas, Paramahamsa Vaishnavas, showing different examples, different moods and Krishna consciousness, and all three of their examples are very helpful for us in different ways. So we're very, very blessed to have had that. Well, great to see others who have joined in the meantime. I see Priya Hita's joined us, and Steve has also joined us. Dana Tungarasa also joined. Happy to be here with everyone. Does anyone else want to bring up any other point for today? I did have a question. I had a couple questions come in. I could turn to those. I had one from Maheshwari Devadasi, who's in London at the moment. And her question was, Sadhu Sangha that inspires one to get involved in devotional service. This is a blessing given by Krishna, right? In order to receive this blessing, one has to hanker for Krishna and have some sukriti, both things. Is that correct? Well, actually, sukriti is what gives us that hankering in the first place, right? Having that grace, and this is what we mentioned earlier on, right? It is actually sukriti, that is the outcome of service to the Vaishnavas. And that sukriti is what gives us that hankering, that hunger, appreciation. And this is described, the process is described in this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is quite well known. I'm sure many of you know that verse. Brahmanda Brahmite Konabhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prashade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. So the soul is wandering throughout the Brahmanda, right? The universal, to the material plane, and they're wandering, Brahmite, right? The fortunate soul, they make connection with Guru and Krishna, and then they receive that Bhakti Lata Beach, that seed of the creeper of devotion. And what that translates as is, and there's also in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Dashmul, these 10 principles of Mahaprabhu's line, he also mentions this there. Really, everything starts when we make contact with the Vaishnava, and that can be in a very simple way, a flower that is offered, and a flower that's offered to Krishna, like somehow making connection, offering service to the nirguna plane, to the transcendental plane. That's how it all starts. So a flower that gets, an innocent flower that gets plucked and offered for the service of a Vaishnava, for the service of the Lord, a cow whose milk, right? This is why we don't get too fanatic about the, only using milk from cows that, of course we don't want to support the cruelty against cows, but at the same time, if their milk can be offered in the service of Krishna, that cow will be blessed, will be uplifted. So, we may open a door for a Vaishnava, like if we think of our, like part of the mercy of these great souls, like Srila Govinda Maharaj, like Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, and they're traveling around the world, right? They're actually giving opportunity for so many persons, airline attendants, right? Nurses, so many persons, someone, letting them cross the street first, they're distributing sukriti in all these small ways, persons are beginning their journey, right? They're offering service to that higher plane in some way. The journey begins, right? To be a blade of grass that gets stepped on by a pure Vaishnava, to be a dog, a dog circumambulating a temple, a dog taking some prasad, a dog in the home of a Vaishnava taking some prasad, right? In all these, 1,000,001 different ways, someone's journey can begin, right? So then that sukriti begins to develop. And our gurus have described this as being of two types. There's this agyata sukriti, which means unknowingly acquired, right? Unconsciously. And then gyata sukriti. So once that agyata, that unknowingly acquired sukriti has developed to a certain degree, then it will awaken within the plane of their consciousness, and some inquiring mood, some attraction, right? It's like sometimes when we go out, there are some people who just inexplicably, they're automatically attracted, you know. Like I've experienced some people who are just fascinated with tilak. Like, wow, that's so beautiful. And I meet other people who think it's very strange. You know, like, there's this one immigration officer in San Diego, never forget. And he like barks at me, "What's that on your face?" You know. Then you'll meet someone else, and then soon after I met this woman in a doctor's office, and that she's a secretary. "Wow, that's so beautiful. Like, what is that?" You know, that's Sukriti. You know, they have this inexplicable attraction, appreciation. Sometimes you meet people, you know, it's like they're picking up from another life. You know, it's so automatic. Okay, Radhana Rupini, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your beautiful presence with us. You know, there's just like this instant, it just clicks, right? That's a high level of Sukriti, right? They're carrying from previous lives. You know, then that, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one place, he explains that this Sukriti, it is the same substance that develops into Shraddha, right? Oh, Ganguly is asking, what's the English translation for Sukriti? Okay, I'll come to that. That gets a little complicated. So this Sukriti, it develops into Shraddha, right? Faith, right? Like actual faith, right? In, you know, in Krishna, in the Krishna-centric world, right? Reality, the beautiful. And then, you know, and Rupa Goswami also describes this outline, right, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And this is a very helpful verse, and you'll see it quoted all over the place by Srila Sridhar Maharaj and our Gurudev, right? He's describing the stages of development: Ado Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Tato Bhajana Kriya, Tato Narti Niritti, right? And then Nishta, Ruchi, right? Ashakti, Bhav, Prem, and then so all these different stages, right? So starting with, so then Shraddha is when the game really starts, right? Your Sukriti is developed to the stage of Shraddha, like firm faith. And then with that faith, we will our real life of association with the Vaishnavas will begin. Of course, it all started with association on a more unconscious level, but now in a conscious way, we are cultivating that in association with Vaishnavas. So then in association, our service life begins, right? And bhajana kriya, the following the devotional practices, you know, offering service, and through that, anartha nivritti, or purification, is automatically affected, right? You know, all of our anarthas, our unwanted bad habits, bad tendencies, attachments, mundane attachments, and so on. Anything that is meaningless, anartha literally mean that which has no meaning. That will all be cleared. And then nishta means like this, like stage of firm, continuous remembrance. That is a very high stage, actually, from where we're standing. But from the real platform, you're still haven't even really begun. In one place, Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, like, nishta, nothing, you know, but from where we're standing, that's a very high place to get to. And then real attachment develops, right? Oh, ruchi, I forgot ruchi, taste, real attraction. And then different stages of divine love, right, will develop. So Ganguly is asking the meaning of sukha. So literally, kriti is connected with the to do, the verb to do, you know, works, activity. And then su is like a intensifier prefix, means like good. It makes something good, like very good. So it means like good, very good activity. And the meaning is like good credits, good fortune that has come as a result of good activity. And now it gets a little confusing because strictly speaking, this word Sukriti, see, there's two types of Sukriti, technically speaking. There's Sukriti referring to the mundane plane, which we normally call punya, luck. Luck. I don't know why luck. Luck isn't really the right word. So I'm saying good activity. The literal meaning is I'm not a Sanskrit, but more or less something like good works, good activity is the literal meaning of Sukriti. But the indication is good fortune, blessings, credits that have come as a result of your good activity. And then I'm saying that there's a mundane expression of that, and there's a divine expression of that. And we normally call the mundane expression, we use the word punya. We normally use that word. Like, like doing charity or being, good to people in the world and yeah, pious activity. Right? So like, then you'll be blessed in this life or a future life, right? You gave a lot of money in charity, then you'll receive a lot of wealth, right? So there's kind of a whole game going on with that, but we're not interested. So then we normally, in our culture, we normally use the word Sukriti to refer to like the divine form of that, like offering service to the Lord and to the Vaishnavas. And there's some grace that comes as a result of that. And like I've heard our Gurudev use the term Nitya Sukriti, right? Like indicating like the Nitya meaning eternal, right? Pertaining to the eternal world. That's the type of Sukriti that we are interested in. We have a thoughtful comment from Marie. So yeah, so in our usage, we could say Sukriti is divine grace that comes as the outcome of rendering service to the Vaishnava, which enables us to appreciate Krishna consciousness, to feel attraction to Krishna consciousness. Does that make sense? Chinmay, you look like you want to say something.
Well, we were having a debate here earlier, well, a few days ago. So the Sukriti, when you've come to, say, for Krishna consciousness, for example, you've got your guru, you have your faith. Sukriti is no longer a part of your life. You're no longer doing things to get Sukriti. Is that true?
No, I mean, it's still a factor, right? I mean, because we're like in this very kind of in and out, sometimes here, sometimes not. Like we're not like totally fixed, right? I would say, that like a pure Vaishnava, like they're beyond Sukriti, right? Like a pure Vaishnava on like a firm platform of devotion to Krishna, they're beyond Sukriti. But I would say on our level, we're still in a gray area, right? Where we could go up, we could go down. Right? We're still not quite here or there, right? So I would say we're still in the realm of Sukriti, and we want to try and capitalize on the Sukriti that we have, right? To invite more Sukriti into our lives. Like our Sukriti has brought us to this level, but let's capitalize on that, and to increase our Sukriti, to have a stronger position in faith and Krishna consciousness. So And it's complicated because there are many factors, right? Like there's the plane of Sukriti, there's karma, right? Like our position is very nebulous, you know. It's like our Sukriti may bring us to a good place, but then there may be some karma that drags us back. Unless it's like very strong Sukriti, which enables us to overcome everything. So, but I would say, you know, definitely, you know, we're still dealing in the plane of Sukriti. And only once we're fully established, you know, we're on the platform of divine love, you know, then that's not a factor anymore. That's my understanding. Because I mean, the way Gurudev would talk, you know, was, you know, he would speak like that was very much still a factor, you know, in our practicing lives. And in our, you know, Guru in Srila Sridhar Maharaj, in one place, he makes some interesting comments about how, like, we will select our association, right? I think you might have been talking about that not too long ago. Yeah, you shared a really nice quote where Srila Sridhar Maharaj saying that, like, we will select our association on the basis of our Sukriti. We'll feel this attraction, we'll feel taste for a particular association. Of course, in a general sense, that will be like in coming to, you know, the group of Krishna consciousness. But then once you're in that realm, things get finer and finer, right? And there are some who are practicing in a deeper way, some in more of a superficial way. And your Sukriti will also pull you, right, to different types of association within that plane. So, but it's definitely a complex thing to comprehend, sure. Those are my thoughts. Nice to see some big smiles in the group. Next week is Govardhan Puja. That's definitely something to smile about. Merciful appearance, very merciful appearance of the Lord. Now, our Math is founded on Govardhan. Actually, is it Tuesday, Govardhan Puja? Maybe it is Tuesday. Let me check here. I think it's the 14th.
The 14th.
It's a Tuesday.
Okay.
It's a Tuesday. Okay. Well, we'll be together then. I think we'll. Yeah, I don't know if we'll have a big program here because it's a weekday. So. Or maybe you'll be busy, Chinmoy Prabhu. Yeah, I don't think you'll be available.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that.
Yeah. But I think I'll probably will have a small program here. It's here everyone's working and they can only come on the weekend. So. Okay. Well, maybe we'll close there for today, unless anyone has any final thoughts to share with the group. Thank you all for your good association, keeping me engaged. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Deva Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Daksha Sridhar Deva Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees, sincere seekers Ki Jai, Shri Hari Nam Jai. Jai Gaur Premanande.
There you go. Jai Vishakha Dasi ki.
Jai.
See you all next time.
Dhanyavad. Thank you.